What's good, bro? Welcome to another edition of the Unleash Rant series on this channel. And I gotta be honest with you, today is a very serious video because truthfully speaking, I want to talk about the two things that you as your man should never do. And first and foremost, that one thing, the first thing is to take your time for granted. Wasting your time in a situation or a predicament, whether that be a bad girlfriend who's just mediocre as fucking dragging you down, or even a job or a financial situation, or even maybe even just your home and life situation where you are in a position where instead of pursuing your goals, instead of reaching forward and continue to progress and grow as a person, as a man, ultimately you instead get caught up in a mediocre situation. And it's tough too, because a lot of times we spend our teens, we're trained as in America, we spend our teens to, I'm young. This is the funnest part of your life. So you spend a lot of your time, maybe socializing with friends, partying, going to school, whatever the case is. But once you reach your 20s, a lot of times as people, as humans, we get kind of caught into those routines because next thing you know, you got to pay that bill next week. You got to do that thing next week. You got to go to that job Monday. And before you know, it's Friday. And you're looking forward to the weekend. And before you know it, it's Monday again. And now you're in the same position, you're in the same predicament. And it's time to say fuck all of that. Because at the end of the day, you as a man, you only have one life, okay? The average lifespan for a human on this planet is 70 years. Now, there's no guarantee you could live to 100 or some shit. But the point is that you cannot take this time for granted because no tomorrow is promised to any of us. You as a man, everything you do is something. Let me put it like this. You should at least do one thing every day that tomorrow your future self will thank you for. That yourself a week from now will thank you for. Yourself a year from now will thank you for. For example, I just read an inspirational post. This is just saying for me too, because basically 5 dudes in the hood, each of them saved like $50 a week, and after a couple years they all bought their own fucking property. And just something like that is something that you would just never think. As someone coming from where I come from, you're just not gonna think shit like that. And that is something that just inspired me, and it also inspired me to make this video, because the moment you take a step, the moment you invest into your future, you give yourself the opportunity to grow and ultimately not to stay in that stagnant position that whatever it is, maybe it's a girl, maybe it's a job, like I said. But at the end of the day, most of us, when you look in the mirror, a lot of us are living lives, that maybe we don't prefer, that we probably don't fucking prefer. And at the end of the day, like J. Cole said, how the fuck you gonna get rich if you don't take a risk, or some shit like that? I think I fucked it up. How the fuck we gonna rich if we don't, we don't take risks? And that's just what it comes down to. The moment you wake up in the morning and you just go through your routine and you don't have an active plan and you don't at least have something that you're striving for, a builder. You are a builder as a human at the end of the day, right? You're a man. That's what we are. We're the planners of this universe. You cannot simply get caught up going through the motions. And I know it can be really easy, but at the end of the day, that shit is cancerous to your fucking progression as a man, into everything that's gonna grow you, your family in the future. And that is something that all men, as men, because at the end of the day, the number one asset we have is not money, it's not property. The number one asset we have is time. The best, who was it? Warren Buffett, who said fucking, the best investment you can make is in yourself. The time that you have, that's your time, yourself. Those are the two most important things. Those are the two things that you mainly have, your health and your time. And with those two things, you can manifest realities, you can create destinies that fuel you forward, that build a legacy, not only for you, but your family, something that you could pass on to your kin, that you could pass on to your kids, and you can look them and they can look at you and be like, hey dad, I'm glad you're not a fuck up and you set me up for life. And that's just a funny way to put it, but it goes a lot deeper than that. And at the end of the day, that's just really what matters, because we can get kind of caught up and being stuck in that same position. It's gonna keep us all back. The second thing is wasting time or wasting opportunities because of what others think. This is something that we all hear all the time. We hear plenty of people say, I don't give a fuck what people think. But truthfully speaking, most people, we care what people think. And every time we're about to do something, we think about how people will perceive that action. Before I ever started getting on camera, like if you watch the earliest videos on this channel, you could tell that it was like early on. I was just still getting used to the camera. Even now, I don't feel like I'm an expert pro. I'm always growing, I'm always progressing. But at the end of the day, when I first got on, I was thinking, like, what is my family gonna think, or what are people gonna think, or how are they gonna perceive me, or how do I look on camera? Even little minuscule fucking little things. At the end of the day, you cannot think. All right, you can't go about life for the sake of others. Even if it's your family, even if it's because at the end of the day, no one can live this life other than you yourself as a man. By having your destiny on the forefront, by taking the opportunity to not give a fuck what anyone thinks, you free yourself. Even if, whether you fail or whether you succeed, when people see that level of conviction in your face, when people see that you truly are chasing after what you're doing, it's like a big mirror reflecting upon themselves and reflecting upon what they're not doing because they decided to play it safe and keep it in the middle. And by being in the middle, guess what? You're not gonna sink and drown, but you're kind of wobbling. You're in the middle, you're on the fence. You could kind of fail, you could kind of succeed, but you could really only stay in the middle. By taking that risk, by not caring what people think. And this is something that's personal to me because I grew up in the Bronx as an Asian kid, and I was pretty much always the only Asian kid in the fucking room, even though I'm only half. Clearly I look it. So I always had to deal with the fact that I couldn't give a fuck what others think, because if I gave a fuck what others think, that would drive me fucking crazy. And I noticed that looking around, a lot of times people around me, they tend to give a fuck a lot. And I also feel like it was a gift, it was a blessing and a curse. But a big reason why it was a blessing is because everyone around me, no one looked like me. So I didn't feel the need to try to fit in because I would never fit in. A lot of people, you might be a white dude, you grow up around white people, you fucking feel the need to kind of get their approval. You're a black dude, you grow up around black people, you might feel the need to kind of fit in with your tribe and get your approval. You know what I mean? Get that approval. But at the end of the day, none of those people can live your life. None of those people are going to make your dreams manifest themselves. You have to do that. And the moment you stop to think, the moment you tell a friend and they say something like, you sure about that? Sure it's gonna work? And you let that shit affect you, you're taking food out of your child's mouth. You know what I mean? Think of it like that. You're taking an opportunity away from your loved ones, away from your mom, away from your father, away from everyone around you that you want to build up as the creator that you fucking are on this planet, by giving a fuck about what the next guy thinks or what the next asshole thinks or whatever the case is. Great, you can take their opinion, you know, you can have it in, I can acknowledge it. I don't have to be super defensive, but at the end of the day, your decision is the number one decision. Your decision is the number one thing that matters. Everyone else's is cute and all, but ultimately it comes down to you. Even if it's your parents hating, even if it's those closest to you hating, sometimes you just have to you just gotta sack up, man. You just gotta sack up and chase your fucking dreams. And these are the two things that as men, we cannot afford to do. We cannot afford to take our time for granted, and we cannot afford to put our dreams or put things that we want to pursue aside, or hesitate or be reluctant upon chasing those goals because of the next asshole next to you or your parents or your, whatever the case is. Because at the end of the day, this is one life and we all got one life to live. And that's really all I have to say for this episode. Thank you for watching, bro. Thank you to the new subscribers on the channel. I hope to see you guys in the future. So with that being said, this has been an Unleashed Rant. Let's get it popping, people.